Hello, and welcome to BIOL 120 Human Biology Lab on diffusion and osmosis. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is get all your supplies in one place. Why? It makes your life easier. It is most helpful to print out the instructions and the table before even beginning the experiment. Always read an experiment over before beginning. If for some reason you cannot print out the instructions at home, go to the USC Sumter campus and print out the instructions and the table for free in the library. Make sure you use the printer labeled LibRef or LibRef. That's LIBREF, because that is the printer that currently works. A great thing to do is, if possible, label your cups or bowls or whatever you're using for the solutions. This will make your life much easier in the long run. If for some reason you can't label them, try and use different colored food coloring for each one. Another really important detail is when the instructions say use 1 cup, that means, use 1 measuring cup. All right, so the first thing we want to do is prep all 3 solutions at the same time, and then we'll move on to the potato. Okay, so now we're going to mix up the solutions. I already have the liquids and the food coloring in the cups, and now we're just going to add the salt. The main thing you want to know when doing this part is make sure that your teaspoon set is labeled appropriately so you know exactly how much salt you're putting in. So 1/4 teaspoon for the isotonic solution. And just use regular table salt for this. And see how it's mounded a little bit like that? What you can do to get rid of that is use the tip of a knife, like the flat part of a knife, and just slowly scrape it off. Yeah, you'll have a bit of a mess, so make sure to explain to your mom, but otherwise just clean it up later. Dump that in, take a spoon, give it a couple whirls, make sure it's nice and stirred up so the salt doesn't gather at the bottom. And voila. Now you just repeat the same thing, but with more salt for the hypertonic solution. All right, so what you're gonna do now, get your potato, and the number 1 rule when cutting, never cut towards yourself. This is a surefire way to go to the hospital. Please don't do that. Nobody wants that. So you're gonna cut, see how the knife is parallel to my hand? That's how you wanna do this. So you're gonna have to saw and cut really hard. Just be careful because potatoes are a really dense vegetable. So here, I'm gonna be cutting my potato into 3 large pieces, and then I will make my plugs using those. There we go. Now what you're going to do is take your tape measure, or ruler in this case, put it on the side that says centimeters, and then you measure across the width of your big potato cuts. Okay, so mine look like they're going to be about 5.5 centimeters long. After measuring lengthwise, you're going to want to measure widthwise. So first, cut off the edges of the potato so you've got your length. So this is about 5.5 centimeters. And then you're going to take your tape measure ruler and measure the width. Now this is just shy of 3 centimeters. So in order to get 3 plugs out of this, I'm going to divide that by 3. So each plug will be about 1 centimeter. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to measure the plugs. You can only see 3 here. You're going to want to make all 9 because following instructions was a surefire way to get you A's and B's in classes. What you're going to do is you're going to take either your tape measure or the alternative way, something like dental floss or string, a Sharpie, and a ruler with centimeters on it. And you're going to take the plug and you're going to wrap it all the way around. Now this is a bit tricky because the floss doesn't want to stay on the potato. And then once you get all the way around, you kind of hold it there with your fingers and you uncap a Sharpie. Come on, you can do it one-handed. Make the thread cross at the same point, like that. And you mark on the floss. There you go. See the two blue ends? They're a little hard to see. What you do is you take your measuring tool, you put one end of the one blue dot on the 0 centimeters and see how far it goes. And this particular plug has a width of 5 centimeters. All right, now that we've measured the plugs, away they go into the solutions. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Now, I only put one in each. You're going to want to put all 3 in each for a total of 9 plugs. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes, and now you're going to want to take your potatoes out and test them to see how they feel for yourselves. You're going to want to, you're going to want to pull out your plug and see if they're like bendy, which ones are bendy, which ones are stiff, and which ones are kind of in the middle. Ooh. See, this is a fun part. Woo! This one is definitely bendy. Now I've turned the cups to the side so you can't tell which one is which. After 10 more minutes, we're gonna pull them out and measure them again. Okay, so now's the moment of truth, the final measuring. Now I'm gonna pull out a plug, just one. Mark a sticky note so you know which one is which. And now I'm gonna measure this plug. Let's see. And then get the Sharpie. There we go. And mark it. Doesn't have to be perfect. And measure. So this one appears to be about 5 centimeters. Okay, so now that you've successfully measured your plugs, you're going to want to make sure to fill it all in your table. It's best to do this as you go along. Fill in your table as you go along. It will make your life easier in the long run. Otherwise, just make sure you have the measurements and remember to convert the centimeters to millimeters. So there are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. So because my plugs were 5 centimeters, I just wrote 50. This is just an example table. Now, at this point, that's when you measure them again, and then you write the answers in here. Last but not least, remember to fill out the questions under the table and wherever you find them in the experiment. This is definitely going to help you craft your lab report. Congratulations, you've finished the lab. Woohoo!